You live in the place you live in because of stories. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Maybe you grew up there. Why don't you leave, right? You don't leave because there's a story of your life that's embedded in the place, and you tell yourself that story every time you remember your own life. You move somewhere, you choose to rent or buy somewhere. I think stories are fundamental to how we live and where we live. I grew up in a house that was built in the 1950s. My maternal grandfather was a doctor. I never knew him. He passed away before I was born. But he built that house, and it was, over the years, I think just even understanding its place in the history of India and the history of, just society has been really important in shaping how I think about design and objects and material culture and architecture and all those things. Just the houses you grow up in, right? It is a beautiful house. It's beautiful because we lived in it. In my immediate family, almost everyone is, in the maths and sciences world, what I think in the US you would call STEM. My father's an engineer, my mother's a statistician, my sister is a mathematician, now turned data analyst. I was good at math. I just never saw it as something I wanted to do the rest of my life. And I ended up in design. I think it's always this underlying belief that what we do in design is significant and important. But at the same time, we can't be hubristic about it. How much can I change the world without stepping on your ability to change the world and your ability to change the world? Every day, trying to figure out where that magic spot lies is really important. I'm not interested in so much us shaping the future of design, or Metropolis shaping the future of design, but that Metropolis can be sort of the steward of that shaping in some way, that we can be a partner in that collective shaping. We want to be in it, not out of it. The thing about architects and designers is that the choices we make have a scale of influence in the world that is larger than the choices that we make just in our day-to-day lives. So we have to work with the understanding that our decisions and our choices are consequential. As an architect or interior designer, if you're picking low VOC paint for a building where the people in that space don't control the building, right? You are making decisions on behalf of the people who do control the building, so the owners of the building, so to speak. You're making certain decisions that will then affect people who didn't have any say in the space they were going to be. So in a way, you become a voice for those people, or you have to be a steward for those people. That's a different order of influence, right? So I think it is true, there is no neutral action. There's a recognition of our agency in what we do today in shaping what happens tomorrow. Knowing that we are not perfect, we don't expect perfection from anyone. And yet, we can collectively hold ourselves to a high standard. We can say, hey, as a group, we have to get to this high standard. As a whole, we kind of have to get to the goals we want to get to. And no judgment in that process, just appreciation. I think the thing that brings me most joy is when people find new ways of doing things better. And people do this every day, right? We find a project, we find something, somebody tells us about something somebody's doing, and we're like, oh, wow, right? So as long as we're doing that, like as long as we're figuring out ways of doing things in fresh, more useful ways, again, that get us towards some of those larger goals, that's great. And I haven't seen that stop. Engaging with the world and trying to make it better in some way, in some minimal way, just through the power of our brains and the things we can do with our ideas, like that's still alive. So, that's the optimism. There's never a day when I don't see evidence of that. And that's really great. That's really important. I don't know. That's at least my way of seeing the world.